Hi guys, how's it going? Man, I wish I could turn this phone, but it won't let me. So pardon me, I have a little bit of a cold right now, so I'm pretty stuffy, but hopefully you can understand me. So today I want to talk to you about heartbeats. And I love talking about the heart because I really believe that, I don't just believe, I know it to be true, that that is where God speaks to us, through our hearts. And even it says for Samuel 16 verse 7, that's where he finds us. That's where he looks at us, our hearts, not our outward appearance. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how listening to our heartbeat and then coming to know God, to understand his heartbeat, are part of understanding his heartbeat. So listening for God's voice is a lot like hearing, hi Simba, a heartbeat. It's constant, it's repetitive, it's rhythmic. And whenever we tune into his heartbeat, we start to hear his voice. So, and this isn't something like we can just turn on and be like, oh, okay, I'm good. I totally hear God's voice and I've got this. No, there's a lot that goes with it. But, how do we do that? We listen for our heartbeat. Pardon me, I have this cat back here. And come to know Christ. So last week, the reason I thought of this is last week we heard the baby's heartbeat. On Wednesday we did an ultrasound. And some of you know, look at him climbing. Free cat. Some of you have been through that, but oh my gosh. As soon as you hear that heartbeat, it's like, wow, this baby is alive. Oh, look at him. This baby is alive. This baby is kicking. The ba-bump, 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 ba-bump. And, if we think about our own heartbeats, they're just there. We don't really notice them unless we're kind of having a panic attack or our hearts are racing. It's like we have to notice our heartbeat. And it's like God, it's always there, and his heart always beats for us. It's just constant, and it's constantly keeping us alive. And so when we tune our heartbeat to his, it's like ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. So I read this devotional last week, from Hearing from God's Voice. This is what it looks like. And so the author writes about the heartbeat from the heart of God. So that's the perspective. So I'm going to read you a couple of things he said. So when you stop trying to figure me out, when you stop trying to relate to me as a set of principles, when you stop trying to be religious or spiritual and instead seek to know me, remember that, and show concern for the desires of my heart, you will experience a new delight and favor in your life. He says, when you lean against me to listen to my heartbeat and let the heartbeat of your life align with it, I will give you great honor. Many people come to me saying they want to know me, but what they really want is for me to do something for them. They want to see themselves or be seen by others as a person who knows God, but they aren't actually interested in my deep desires. I want a heart connection. I delight in you already, and I want you to delight in me. So, he said, I mentioned, seek to know me. Seek the Lord. Come to know the Lord. So, that's the second thing I mentioned in the two things. But the author mentioned, stop trying to relate to me as a set of principles. So stop trying to put God in a box. The heartbeat of God doesn't come from a textbook and really any educational knowledge in the world. It comes from the knowledge of God, which is very different. And not many people know that unless you're in the Word. But if you study Proverbs, you will read all sorts of stuff about the wisdom of God. That is really where I learned that true wisdom, hi Manna, true wisdom comes from God's heart. So not wisdom from academics, but wisdom that comes from knowing God. And that doesn't mean that academics and educational knowledge are anything bad. It's just that it's not going to get you to understanding God's heart, which is why when people make God all academic and try to overanalyze him and figure him out, it doesn't work because he doesn't reveal himself in, academics. He just doesn't. So I'm going to read to you Proverbs chapter 2, verses 2 through 10, and it really talks about accepting God's wisdom and what we gain when we accept God's wisdom. So listen carefully. my son, if you dropping stuff. Really, Simba? Anyway, my son, if you accept my words and store up my commands within you, turning your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding. Indeed, if you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding, and if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the kingdom of the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. He holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield to those whose walk is blameless, for he guards the course of the just and protects the way of his faithful ones. Then you will understand what is right and just and fair, every good path. Awesome number 10 verse. For wisdom will enter your heart and knowledge will be pleasant to your soul. So the knowledge of God, getting the wisdom of God will be pleasant to your soul. So you seek wisdom, you seek the knowledge of God through his teaching and in your heart. That's kind of tuning into the heart of God and hearing God's voice. It doesn't, we already know what I've said, it doesn't come from, but God speaks the language of the heart, not of performance. He's not going to come say hi and great job when you're doing everything perfect, because one, you're not perfect, and two, he's like, that's not why I'm here. I'm here to come into your brokenness. I'm here to give you strength. So yesterday I posted an excerpt of Matthew 11, 28 through 30 from the Message Bible. If you don't know it, go look it up. But I talked about the unforced rhythms of grace. So God's heartbeat isn't forced. It's rhythmic. And he gave you a heartbeat in the womb. It's like he gave you his heart when you were in the womb. So, tuning into his heartbeat isn't another thing to add to your to-do list. Oh, well, here's another thing I got to do, to have a stronger faith. No, that's not what it's saying. It's a way to tune into his spirit and listen for his voice, noticing him working in you, not just around you. So the other day, I'm going to give you an example. The other day I was talking with a friend who kind of has a hard time embracing the concept of God. She called me at the end of the day. She struggles, and she called me at the end of the day when she really had this good day where she wanted to call me because God, I think God might be showing up. And so she told me all these things that happened during the day, and it was like, wow. He chased after her. He gave her so many signs that he was right there, and it's like she was tuning into his heartbeat, it's just amazing, because if you don't see him, you don't notice him, then you don't know this. So he chases us down and doesn't give up. And last week I talked about in my blog because Jesus is our shepherd, and he leaves the 99 for the one lost soul. He left the 99 for me. He leaves the 99 for you when you're lost. And he never stops chasing it. So it's in John 10 where he talks about the good shepherd, and he really talks about, he is the gatekeeper. He is the shepherd. We have to enter through his gate. So he says in verse 7, very truly I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. Verse 9, I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. Verse 11, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep, and he talks a lot about how his sheep know him and his voice and follow him. But you have to let him rescue you in order to hear his voice. So, verse 14, I am the good shepherd. I know, there's that word again, my sheep and my sheep know me. Verse 27, my sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me. That's not coming from a textbook or a rule book. That's coming from the word of God that is alive like no other word that is out there. So if you want to tune into his heartbeat, you've got to get into the word and come to know him and gain his knowledge, because you're not going to get it from the world, and seek him and just seek him. You'll come to know him within you when you seek him around you and seek him in the word and notice how he's working in your life. So just remember, he's looking at your heart, not your performance or the way you look. You're not going to gain this approval by performing for him. That's the opposite of how he works. So, but when you tune into his heartbeat and you tune into his voice, that's where the beauty comes in. That's where, when I talk about the relationship with God, when you just feel his presence. And, it's funny because speaking of the baby's heartbeat, I had this just sense this whole pregnancy of what sex this baby was going to be. And my husband and I were opposite, but I just had this sensing, and to me it was kind of that knowing. It's like I was hearing the still small voice, the whisper of God. If it wasn't it, then I knew it wasn't his, but I just kind of knew, when I wasn't surprised. So hold on a minute, and I'm going to show you what sexting is. Oh, you're going to figure it out. So let me get up for a minute. So it's a girl. Yep, we're having a girl. Woo! And this is really pale pink, so you can barely see it. But we are having a girl, and I just kind of knew that that's what it was going to be. But I think that's because I just felt tuned into God. I feel like, Manna, I have days. I mean, I have a couple days where I am throwing up and other days where I'm not. So I'm grateful for the days where I'm not. But thank you for asking. So that's really what I wanted to tell you. Tuning into God's heartbeat. And I'm going to leave you with this quote. Ironically, Saddleback Church posted this quote today right before I did this message. It says, God is not out beyond the farthest star. He is close as your next heartbeat. Tom Holiday. I mean, that is intimate. That is how intimate God wants to get. So I think we have to really know that. So next week, I know for a lot of you are going to be practicing Lent and getting a little bit more in the stillness. And so I actually ended up getting 3 or 4 messages for the next couple weeks. So you'll see me again next week. But I'm going to talk about kind of tuning into his heartbeat probably this whole next couple weeks, but with different themes. So, and since so many of you often are wondering what my tummy looks like, I'm going to get up and show you. There it is. See, I got the Prego jeans on. It's a party. So that's what's up. That's where I'm at. Look this week for where God is tuning into your heartbeat. And I hope you have a good week. You know, if you have any questions, send them to me. Or I hope you share this with people who you think may need to tune into God's heartbeat. All right. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.